Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight we have with us a special guest. We have Frost of Satyricon. Welcome to the show, Frost.
Thank you so much.
So tonight we're going to talk about the special 20th anniversary release or re-release of the album Nemesis Divina. But before we do, Frost, what was it like the first time around releasing this album when you guys started playing out live and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that was a very happening time. Satyricon basically has a lot of momentum in that period, and in 95 and 96, and things were happening on a pretty grand scale every day, and we experienced a lot of musical and technical progress.
Mm-hmm.
Nocturnal Culto becoming a member of the band, and all these great new themes and ideas and songs that were being presented in the rehearsal place, very frequently. And then later, our first live show ever, and then our first tour. You can imagine that they were very, very exciting times for a young band, and also operating in a very happening environment. New releases in the black metal genre was something quite different back then than what it is now. So they were very spirited and exciting days for us, and I remember it with fondness. I definitely do.
And it's like you said, it was a happy and really happening time back then for black metal. And I mean, for a black metal band and album, this particular album that you guys released was so pivotal in the scene, even amongst the press at the time. What was it about this particular album, do you think, that was just so appealing to people?
Probably many factors coming together. The fact that Satyricon had so much momentum contributed a lot to the very raw and hungry and driven, conquering spirit of the album. I think that it's probably very convincing in a way, and it speaks loudly and clearly to people. Even today, I suppose it does. And Satyricon's determination to make this a super potent and powerful album mattered a lot, and we weren't afraid to put on hard work to realize it, and we were also very motivated to rehearse and work hard, because we felt that things were happening for us. And I think it also helped that Satyr in particular had all of these clear ideas of what the album was going to be and what kind of identity it should have, and that cover artwork should be visually very striking and particular and spectacular, and that the idiosyncrasy of the album was something that we really needed to take into consideration and preserve in absolutely every aspect of it. And I think that the album in general speaks a very loud and clear language. The music, the lyrics, the artwork, the layout, everything. And that probably makes it stand out and gives it an identity of its own, and it makes it becoming remembered and a strong and particular part of history, because there is really nothing else like it. Definitely nothing like it at the point, but still today, I think there is nothing really like Nemesis.
No, and you're right. There is really nothing like it at all. And also, back when it was released the first time, and you released the video that came with it. That was pretty controversial video for the times.
Yeah, I think that was also part of our approach and our way of working. We wanted to do things properly, at least as properly as we were able to, and with those resources we had access to at the time. And working with a music video was appealing to Satyr and me because we were very much into the visuals of the genre and the potential that lay therein, and we were into aesthetics in general, and we felt that we could do very nice work with that. And at some point we also realized that Mother North was a song that really had a good video potential, because there's such a clear message, and it has that kind of appeal that makes it function as a video song. And our goal was to make a video that really looked like a proper music video, not just some amateur work. And we wanted it to be visually striking and provoking, and to have some of that penetrating power, which that album really has a lot of.
And it's true, and it came out really well. I mean, it's got to be hard, especially for, black metal bands, to put out a video without it, looking, too corny or something to some of the people. And it must have been hard to achieve it, but you guys really achieved it, I think, with that band, with that particular song as well. So that was a feat in itself, I think, Frost.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that. I guess that parts of the video look a little banal today, but at least it has a pioneering spirit that.
Oh, for sure.
Without it, we wouldn't have been able to make those later music videos that we did. So it was a very important experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what was, I mean, we're here in the States and we read things about, the black metal scene this time and that time. But what was the black metal scene like in Norway back in 1996?
Most of the bands back then were, in a way, trying to be kings of their own small world. But a good thing about that was that no band of that scene really sounded the same.
Mm-hmm.
Each band created a musical universe of their own, and I think that contributed to make those albums from that time really stand out. They don't really resemble each other, but they sound original and unique and very fresh. But also, I guess that at least among most of the bands, there was a stronger sense of us being colleagues than competitors. And in a small country like Norway, you have to learn thinking like that sooner or later, because you might depend on help from other people at a certain point that may be, affiliated to a different camp. And that really was something that started to happen in '96, and Nocturnal Culto, for instance, became a part of Satyricon, while originally being from another really outstanding camp, which was Darkthrone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was a good thing for Satyr and me. Both of us were really into Darkthrone, I guess. Bands that we respected the most at the time, and we were very happy to learn that Nocturnal was as much into Satyricon as we were into Darkthrone, I suppose, and as Nocturnal Cult actually moved to our place, we found out that we could collaborate, and that expanded Satyricon's world. And even if Nocturnal Cult didn't really write material for us, the fact that he was there heightened or increased our spirits a lot, and also it made it possible to do twin guitar lines and so in the rehearsal place, which we hadn't been able to do before that, and that also helped us a lot, and especially writing just that album. So I guess that back at the time it was the right balance between being competitors and colleagues in the small but very particular Norwegian black metal environment.
So this year again, as I said, marks the 20th anniversary of the release of Nemesis Divina. So Frost, whose idea was it to celebrate by re-releasing this album?
No, it was the band's idea, and that was something that we really felt was due. Even if we don't have a tradition of being retrospective. Perhaps we don't really like looking back that much. It just felt right this time. It's a quite particular anniversary, and it's an album that we know means a lot to very many people. Mm-hmm. And for us, it's that album that really brought Satyricon out there, and that brought us to become a live band. And probably the album that really opened doors to a larger world for us, and also probably the first album that really demonstrated that conquering spirit that Satyricon is so much about. So just this time, I guess that we collectively felt that it was worth to mark it.
And so what was you guys remixed it, remastered it? Were you happy with how it came out after you did all that?
Yes, we did remaster it, yes, and it's really a plan to make a very different version of the album, because that really would make sense. What we're celebrating is that album anyway, and not something else. And I mean, we could have made a very different version of it today, but that kind of wouldn't make sense to us, to spend a lot of time redoing an album that is so much about just that spirit of the mid-80s and mid-90s and what Satyricon was about back then, and that whole zeitgeist thing, So we just wanted to see if we could make the album sound like a slightly better version of itself, not really taking away its original feel or spirit, but just add a little something and give it a little more clarity and a little more low frequency and better vocal space and that kind of thing, which we did, and people that listen to the remastered version of the album tells us exactly that, and they feel that it sounds like the original, only like slightly better, or or played at a very, very good hi-fi, So that's a sign that we pretty much achieved the right thing, I suppose.
It was, because I listened to it as well, of course, and I feel the same way. You didn't really take anything away from that album, just kind of cleaned up the sound a little bit, not as muddy, just clear, but still almost sounds like it was recorded the first time around. So you did a great job on doing that. I don't know how you did it that way, but it must have been a little bit meticulous, but it sounds exactly what you were going for, which is nice.
Yeah, I think that you got it there.
So tell us a little bit about the packaging on the re-release.
Well, to add something to give it a little extra value and to point to the album's place in history made sense. So, hence things as liner notes and also an intro about the album and how it was made and the process and all of that. And slightly improved artwork and a couple of new pictures, and we wanted it to look a little bit more coherent and a little more timeless. So we gave it a slightly more classic touch. That's what I feel about the new version. When you look at it, it definitely does look like the original, but we have taken away a couple of those 90s graphical solutions that felt a little wrong to reuse, and we made it a little more timeless and added a couple of things to point to the fact that this is a celebration of something that has historical significance, and more than that, there is.
And now, will you be doing some shows as a follow-up to the re-release?
Yeah, we have done the first already, and some shows happening this summer where we perform Nemesis Divina in its entirety.
So what was that like, doing that whole album all at once? That's not something you guys usually do.
No, we connect to an old but very intense spirit, at least for me as a drummer. That was very fascinating. There's a particular kind of power and drive to those old Nemesis songs, and it was cool for me to connect with that, and it was very evident that it was a very rewarding experience for the audience, and a deep sense of gratitude is something that I felt, and also expectations, and basically all of that makes it a quite thrilling experience. And I have to say, it was positive to see how reacted to the album and how it felt to be on stage.
And Frost, since releasing this in '96, how would you say that you personally have grown as a drummer?
I guess that first and foremost, I have started to discover that I'm part of a larger totality, part of a constellation, and that means that I shouldn't always, think about how much the drum can do and how the drums could be in the foreground or steer the music in this or that direction, but also understand that sometimes I should provide the fundament for parts or vocals or other instruments in the band, and try to understand things from a composer's view, and perhaps be a little musical. I think that in the early days, my primary focus was that of intensity and rawness and very violent energy, and I was trying to make things sound very aggressive. But since then, I have also understood the value of lots of other kinds of expressions, and that you need a richer palette in order to function in a band over time. As a drummer I am today is a very, very different musician, and with a very expanded understanding of his own task and field of work. The guy I was 20 years ago, and I hope to continue to evolve in the same way in the future.
And so, Frost, what are some of the sites that people could go on to find out more about the band and the tour and all kinds of info like that?
Well, they can start with the Satyricon webpage and work their way from there. I mean, there are links to
Everything.
Facebook page and other sites. So if they go to www.satyricon.no, that's a good starting point, I suppose.
And what's coming up? What else is coming up for Satyricon this year?
Oh, we will start recording a new album.
Ah.
So I guess that's a substantial happening for the band, and something that I'm strongly looking forward to. It's going to be an amazing album.
And we're looking forward to that now. Do you know about when-ish that's supposed to be released?
Sometime next year.
Nice.
Probably in the spring.
Nice. Okay, so again, Nemesis Divina will be re-released May 20th on Napalm Records, and the band is doing a few one-on shows. You can check out their sites for more information there. And Frost, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us here tonight.
Pleasure is mine.